Okay, so let's go ahead and call this a meeting to order of the Town of Sheffield Select Board for February 1st at 7 p.m. This meeting is being recorded by CTSB. You may also record the meeting upon informing the chair. Let me just introduce the selectmen who are on the call: Martin Mitzoff, Bob Kilmer, Renee Wood. We also have our town administrator, Rhonda Lombard, and her assistant, Jill Hughes. With that, let's go ahead and start the meeting. Our first item of business is the approval of meeting minutes.
This is Martin. I'll make a motion that the Select Board approve the meeting minutes from January 19th as amended and January 26th, 2021.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. Our next item is an appointment to the Housing Commission. And as remember, Adam Kirshner had applied and he was announced on 1/19. Is there a motion from the board members on this?
This is Martin. So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we're appointing him to serve on the Housing Commission for 3 years. Is that your motion, Martin?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Bob, that's your second?
Correct.
Excellent. Is there any discussion on this matter? Let's do a roll call vote. Martin Mitzoff?
Aye.
Bob Kilmer?
Aye.
Renee Wood? Aye. Thank you. Our next item is discussion possible action regarding a January 20th, 2021 open meeting complaint by Susan and Robert Butler. We have this complaint in our packet, and we also have a draft letter of response that's obviously up for change. I just wanted to kind of read parts of this so that the public knows. What I want to let everyone know is that I had, after this last complaint, had called the AG, the Attorney General's Open Meeting Division, February 22nd, and in asking them a few questions, I was informed that the Select Board does not need to review the entire complaint submitted or from an open meeting law complaint, just enough to understand the complaint that was filed, which is generally the first. In fact, it should be the first 2 pages according to their form. The second thing is that I was informed was that the Select Board has no obligation to read the complaint at a Select Board meeting. So given this information, what I was told, and since that was the basis of the complaint, the letter that I'm suggesting we review for this evening, as we do have to send back an answer, is that given this information from the Open Meeting Division, basically the complaint has no merit, as we have fulfilled our obligation by reading the complaint enough to understand it, and that we are discussing this complaint since we all have a copy of it in our packet, as well as this letter. And so let me ask the Select Board, what would you like to do regarding this complaint?
This is Martin Mitzoff. I want to make a motion that we submit the letter to Susan and Robert Butler regarding their open meeting law complaint dated February 2nd, which is tomorrow, for signature by Renee Wood.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any further discussion amongst board members? Okay, I do want to point out that we do have to send the entire complaint to the Attorney General's office with this letter. With that, any other comments, board members? Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. All right, who is going to do the update on the new highway garage? Rhonda, is that you, or does one of the select board members want to handle that?
Maybe Bob or you.
Bob, you want to start, and I'll finish if you miss anything?
Sure. We don't have a lot to talk about. We have looked into a piece of property in Ashley Falls, which we have decided was not going to work for us at that point. We have then gone back and looked at a piece of property that the town owns with a consultant who has gone through and filing the correct paperwork, and I do believe, I'm not sure, has he scheduled with the Concom at this point?
My understanding is he's still waiting for the state to come back on the national heritage species. There's some piece of information that he needs that he is waiting to have them come back to him on.
Okay.
And he will schedule it with the Concom.
So basically, that's where we're sitting at the moment to make sure that we can go forward with this piece of property. Other than that, everything else is pretty much on hold.
Okay, Martin, did you want to add anything?
No, thank you, not at this stage.
Rhonda?
No, I think Bob has covered it very well and exactly where we're at.
Okay, and Bob, I want to thank you for bringing up this piece of property to our attention. So we'll just keep people informed, and we'll move forward on that. Our next item is a discussion regarding the meeting with the Regional School District Planning Board. This is the group that's looking at whether there's a possibility of the two school districts, ours and Berkshire Hills, possibly doing things together or combining. Rhonda, do you have a date for us?
I do. It's February 16th at 6 p.m. It'll be a virtual meeting. They're going to give us an update plus talk a little bit, I believe, about a funding request.
Okay, so we'll get that on the agenda. I think people will probably want to call in and attend that besides the select board. I was talking to Bonnie Silvers today on another matter, and she, I guess, sat in on the Egremont update and said that it was a very good presentation. Really made things clear as to where situations are. So I think we'll want to put that on our calendars. Okay. Anything else on that, Rhonda, or anyone?
Nothing from me. Thanks, Renee.
From any board member?
No, thank you.
Not at the time.
Okay. All right. Just following up on the textile box for recycling that we talked about at our last meeting, they were going to, I guess, deliver tomorrow, but they would like to know if they can deliver on Wednesday just because the weather, I found this out today, just because the weather is so bad. And they would like to deliver 2 boxes, just with the feeling that they have found, I guess, that when they bring it into a transfer station, frequently there's kind of an overflow. So they'd like to bring 2 boxes if that's possible on Wednesday. I can meet them. I just need to get a key or get someone down there from the highway department. And Rhonda, when I went out there this weekend, and board members, when I went out there this weekend, the place that seemed to me to be the most logical was to put it to one side of the swap shop, kind of as you're coming up the hill. I was afraid to put it on the other side of the electronics in case we get that award for the rigid plastic bin that we've been waiting to see whether we're going to get anything on that. So what do you all think about that? Or do you have another location? We could also put it down by the mattress recycling.
That's kind of where I thought it was going to go, Renee, down by the mattress. I think there's more of an area for people to be able to safely pull over and get the things out of their car than coming up the hill before the electronics box.
Okay, so why don't you and if the board, I was thinking that would really allow, the bins could be not on anything but on the concrete, and then kind of face the recycling, the mattress recycling, and that would give a place to pull in and comfortably get out and put your things in. Does that sound reasonable to people?
This is Martin. I think that's an excellent idea. That's a great place for it.
Okay. Bob, how about you?
It has been so long since I've been to the transfer station. I couldn't offer.
You'll have to take our word for it.
Yes.
and maybe Rhonda, if you are available also at 10 o'clock on Wednesday, we could just go over and make sure that we get it put the right spot the right first time.
Sure.
Okay. Wonderful. So I'm going to be frantically trying to put together something to put on the website so people know what kind of textiles. But it's pretty well open as long as they're not moldy, they don't have odor, they're not dirty, and they're not wet. That's pretty well it for what's not going to be permitted. So I'm really excited about this. Okay.
Thank you, Renee.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be good. Anything else on this one? Otherwise, we'll move on. Okay, number 7, Sari Hoy will be presenting this to us, but at this moment, we'd like to pass over it until next week, our next meeting on the 16th, if that's all right. We'll pass that over, item number 7.
Sounds good.
Okay. Item number 8 is the discussion action regarding a letter to the planning board regarding the host community agreement with Wiseacre Farm, which was granted by the select board last Thursday after considerable discussion. We have a letter in our packet which basically goes over that the applicant had spent considerable time talking about odor and basically said that he was going to do everything. Well, I thought he basically committed not to have any odor. I don't know what the other board members heard, but he also sent us 2 websites that discussed the type of odors, which he had discussed at his meeting, community outreach meeting. And so we are including those websites in our letter to the planning board. Board members, do you have any comments on this letter? How you want it changed?
Looks fine to me, and I would make a motion that we submit the letter as...
Could you hold it for one moment?
Sure.
Because Bob, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think you covered it for the most
Okay.
part. He did seem pretty confident that he could control the odors, and that was my biggest concern in that area.
Yeah. I realized after I sent this letter to Rhonda last week that he also spent quite a bit of time talking about the well. And that I thought I heard him commit to drilling a well that was going to be below the depth of the wells that were discussed during the community impact meeting. And I thought he mentioned around the area of 200 to 250 feet. Do you remember, board members, do you remember that discussion?
That was correct.
Yes. The essence of it is that the well source that they will be using is actually located below the water table in that vicinity. It's well below, considerably below, any of the water that's otherwise available to those who have hand-dug wells or otherwise.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the board would favor updating this letter to include that, because I got so focused on odor and finding this websites when he sent it to me, but I also seem to remember that our conversation was very conditioned on water.
This is Martin. It wasn't necessarily conditioned on water. It was simply a line of inquiry, which I think the applicant, gave us sufficient reasons to believe that they were doing everything they could to basically access water that's not available to anyone else anyway. I don't see a need to put it in this letter to the planning board, but I would leave it at that.
Bob, where are you?
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about the water issue. If you wanted to add it so the planning board was aware that, but under my understanding is the planning board is already aware of the issues that were brought up at the meeting prior to it.
Yeah, I know 2 or 3 of those of the planning board members attended. All right, so I'm just going to ask for a motion then. Martin, I think you started to make a motion.
Yes, I make a motion that the select board approve the letter to Ken Smith, chair of the planning board, with regard to potential odor control measures for Wiseacre Farms, dated February 2nd, to be signed by May.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, board members, is there any further discussion on this letter? All right, let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. All right, so our next item is discussion, possible action regarding shared streets. This grant just keeps giving. I know the board is aware that we did the flashing light beacons with the first part, and then we had some money left over. So we were able to upgrade sidewalks at 3 places, I think 4 places where they crossed roads or driveways in our village green. And we still have money left over. The state would prefer that we find a shared street and spaces use for this. So Rhonda and I discussed a number of different uses that fit within that program. And we sent it off to see if they would like to give us an extension on any of them. And they really liked the idea of putting in a ADA compliant trail that would go off of the Sheffield Town Park near where the Kiwanis shed and the driveway is there, and also the parking, the kids playground. And that would go into the Sheffield Forest right there, and then that goes kind of to an end spot. But that would be, I know the select board remembers the pathways that EDM had proposed for the restroom renovations in the town park, and that those paths would come from the pavilion. They'd all be, I don't know what they called it, crushed stone. It's the same thing as the river walk down in Great Barrington. And then those would go around to the other baseball diamond, and then that path would also, all of this ADA compliant universal access would go to right across and end at the driveway, or the entranceway. That would be right across from the children's swing area. So they are in favor of us doing this, and they will let us have the money to, it's about $23,000 to do this. So we've kind of just gotten the approval on this. So we need to bring it to the board and see if the board would concur with the use of this money. Of the other things that we cited we tried to get, they weren't that much in favor of it. In fact, they weren't in favor of it at all. They really, really glommed onto this one. So what we will have to do is probably get the end of that forest surveyed so we know exactly where it ends. If anybody's about a maybe, fifth of a mile walkway, there's all kinds of signs at the end, but we really don't know where it ends. It's supposed to connect with the town forest that we're looking to put the highway garage on in. So I think in a couple of years it could make a very nice accessible trail and really kind of open up that whole area. So we just need to know if the board is in agreement with this, if we see if we can spend the rest of this money.
It seems like a nice improvement. The only question I had was the pavers that are breaking up in front of, on the town green, was that ever asked for, or?
There's a couple of things with that. The reason they're breaking up, Joe Wilkinson told me this, is that they really weren't fired brick, they were pressed brick. And I guess when they were installed, it wasn't clear at the time. We have looked at that as one of the steps in the Complete Streets grant. That's the one we got the $400,000 for. So we couldn't. There's no way $23,000 would not even start. And this has to be finished by the end of June. So we would even. We've got that earmarked, hopefully in the Complete Streets as we go. Not this current year, but one of the following years.
No, I think the trail would be a great asset.
Martin, do you have any thoughts?
No, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay, so before you make that, I'm going to try. I've been talking with Mark Volk to try and get some numbers from him. I also need to get the Concom over there when we don't have, maybe you and Ted or Ted and Don when we don't have snow, to see if we've got any issues that we need to bring before the Concom. I'm going to try and see if I can get them to pay for the survey of where that trail actually ends. If not, I will have to come back to the board ask for a little bit of money to have survey work done. But I'm going to try and include everything I can, and I will work obviously with Rhonda on this so she knows everything that's going on and has a chance to put her good eyes to it.
Renee, this is Martin. So are you talking then about additional funding beyond what is available in the shared streets? Because I was going to make a motion that we take all steps to utilize the shared streets funding available.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know whether they're going to come back to me. If this is approved, I'm going to put a proposal together for them, which I'll review with Rhonda, which we did and we put a proposal together on the crosswalk lighting. I'm going to put the surveyor in there. If they kick it back, I'm going to have to come back to the board. So I'm just kind of giving you a warning that I may have to come back. At that point, I would know exactly what it's going to cost. I don't expect it to be outrageous, but I'm going to see if I can include it and have them cover it.
Okay. So I would make a motion that the town take all the appropriate steps to secure funding from available shared streets funding sources for the potential installation of an ADA compliant trail at the town park.
Yeah, we've got the money. We just have to spend it. Okay, I just need to know that the select board will approve us writing the proposal to spend the money that they've already told us we can spend on this project.
Okay, well, I can either modify my motion, but I think take all appropriate steps should cover any action that needs to be.
Good. Wonderful. Bob?
I'll second it.
Okay. is there any discussion? And Rhonda, do you want to make any comments on this?
I don't. I think it's a great project, and I'm happy that they're going to allow us to use up the rest of the money to do something like that.
Okay, any discussion from board members?
No, thanks.
All right, so let's do a roll call. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. Martin, would you like to give us a COVID-19 update? And thank you again for being so devoted to this, for this topic and doing what you're doing for our town. Would you like to give us an update?
Yes, thank you. In this evening's call, I want to focus the townsperson's attention to Kathy Loring and Elaine Ireland and members of the Council on Aging Board who participated in helping Sheffield senior citizens, those aged 75 or older, to sign up for vaccinations in the current phase of the vaccination program. My understanding last Thursday was that Kathy and Elaine and others had at least 75 people help them over the phone, on their computers, help them sign up for vaccinations. We got an update today that Kathy also put them in touch with the Big Y pharmacy program as well. And my guess is that now well over 100 seniors have been assisted with at least getting registered for their vaccination appointments. Today's weather and tomorrow's weather may cause some readjustment of those appointment times. But again, my thanks go out to the, to these people that have helped our seniors get ready and get situated for the vaccines. And I also want to send my thanks to Chief Eric Munson, who called me up and asked if he and his police officers could assist in the program as well and provide any help in getting other people registered in this phase. So I put him in touch directly with Kathy and Elaine, and I'm hoping that they were able to utilize his and his officer services as well. That's all I have for today.
Excellent. Okay. And I'm assuming that this is going to be ongoing as we just kind of go through the round of different vaccination dates. And I think the senior center serves down to, is it 60, Rhonda?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking.
Do they serve down to age 60 or how?
Oh, 55. I'm sorry,
55. So they've got a lot of people to help, but this is really setting a wonderful precedent. All right.
They actually signed a bunch more people up this afternoon.
Incredible.
Because more vaccines became available, so they got, I didn't get the exact count, but I know that they were working on that again this afternoon.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, so let's go to board items. Bob, do you have anything?
Nothing tonight.
Martin?
Nothing, thank you.
I just have one item. I want to remind people to please, if you haven't already had a chance to do so, complete your annual town census that our town clerk mailed out in January. And if for some reason you didn't receive one, if you call her at 229-7000, extension 151, she'd be very happy to send you out one. Rhonda, how about your items?
I don't have anything tonight, Renee.
Okay. How about public comments? Is there anyone who has a public comment to make?
Hi, this is Laura Grunfeld.
Yes, hi, Laura.
Hi, Renee. Thank you all very much for making it possible to have this accessible trail. That's really wonderful, and I'm sure that the Commission on Disabilities will be totally pleased to hear this news. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else has a public comment?
Susan Butler.
Go ahead, Susan.
When you reviewed January 20th complaint, was the review of the 2 page form only, or did you review the attached pages?
We are required to review by the AG's open meeting law office. We are required to review enough of the complaint to understand what the complaint is. We are not required to review the entire complaint. Do you have anything else? Otherwise,
Well, I presume then that you read some of the pages.
I think that's a reasonable assumption.
Okay. And my other question is, when did you talk to the Attorney General's office?
I spoke with her on February 20. Just a moment. It's in the letter.
January.
January 20. I'm just getting to that page.
Second.
January
22nd.
Yes, January 22nd.
Okay. And who did you speak to at the office?
I did not write her name down. She was with the Attorney General's office, open meeting law, and they called me back. I got the information that I requested, and I did not take her name down.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Yes, this is Lauren Hyde.
Yes, go ahead, Lauren.
I just wanted to ask a couple of questions because I think I'm confused on the process to make things happen or not happen. Is a working meeting by the Select Board able to be attended by the public, or is it a working meeting for just all of you and it's closed?
No, it's not. It's every meeting that the Select Board has or any other board has, except for those that are noted as being executive session, are open meetings and they are posted. That is why at the last Select Board meeting, I announced that there would be the working meeting and we would be discussing the host community agreements.
Okay.
So they are open meetings and the dial-in access is there. It's the same as it was for tonight.
Okay, I think that the group of us in the Polycloth neighborhood didn't realize that. I don't think any of us attended that, which would have probably...
I was actually, I think, at least I know, I can't speak for the rest of the board, I really announced that so that that was to give you all an opportunity.
Yeah, I don't think that any of us that were on that last Select Board call, which wasn't a lot of us, I don't think we understood that.
Okay.
So that was a miss on our part. I have another follow-up question. Thank you for answering that. Can a motion that's been made already, like in this meeting or in a future meeting, can it be worded in a way where you can ask to have it be reversed?
Are you asking if it can be changed completely, Lauren, that they could undo what they've already done, a vote?
I'm asking if something can be, number one, undone. Yes, that's the first part of the question. And the second part is if there could be an additional motion made by a member of the public.
No.
Like, could I make a motion? I'm asking.
No.
I'm not going to make a
No.
motion. I'm just asking if I
No.
can make a motion.
No, the board members are the only ones who make motions, or whoever's on the committee, the commission, or whatever. It's only the members, like the planning board. Only the planning board members can make a motion. Council on Aging, the same with the Select Board. Only the members who have either been appointed or elected by the public on that board or commission or committee can make a motion.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. I understand that. And then my last comment, I know my time is running out, is that our group that lives on Polycloth and in the surrounding area, Bunce and Clayton and East Stall, are very much against the Wiseacre Farm putting their farm on the piece of property that is half residential and half business. So would you suggest, I know we've already all been on the planning board meeting, and I think we plan to go to the next one whenever that one's posted. The date, I don't think it's posted on the website as I'm looking at it now. That's where we get things done. Is that true? Is that where we can, like, ask to be on the agenda and, like, can I talk? Because, like, there's discussion that's had, and then I feel like I can't say anything because I'm not on the agenda. I just don't know how the whole process works, and
right.
I think you understand what I'm asking.
Yeah, Ken, are you still on the phone?
I don't believe he is, Renee.
I don't think he
No,
is.
I am sorry.
So,
I couldn't get to my mute button.
Oh, okay. So you heard Lauren's question.
I did.
Would you like to respond to Lauren?
Well, I might actually try and get the select board's opinion on that. I guess Lauren and I have talked, and I know that the Wiseacre Farm has not come before the planning board with any kind of permit or anything else. So that's why thus far I have felt that it's not appropriate to have the citizens talk about it, but I can open it up, but I would have to caution the board that we cannot reply back at all. So you'd be talking to, I don't want to say you'd be talking to a wall, but you'd be talking to 5 people that would be listening, but we could not comment on it because this applicant has not come before us with any kind of a permit yet.
You know what, I have to say, and then I'm going to ask the rest of the board if they want to make a comment. Basically, I took Lauren's question as to refer to when there was the hearing on the special permit. So
when there's a hearing, the floor is open to all the public, and we would take every public comment there is. So yes, absolutely at that point.
And that's like
someone
on the agenda, and we would see it listed as hearing for Wiseacre Farm special permit. Is that true?
Correct. And when they do come before us for their special permit, it has to be posted in the paper 2 weeks ahead of time. It will be a designated special hearing that night. It's even above and beyond our normal, meeting agenda. So that would definitely be posted to everybody. But at this point, they have not come before us with anything yet.
Yes.
Okay.
Ken, you have to just, Lauren, just a second. Ken, you also have to post to abutters as defined, as that term is defined. You also put a legal notice, I believe, on the legal notices on the website. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, there's various steps that we have to do.
There's a whole bunch of, here it is. It's public. You also, besides taking public voice, you will also take written communication if somebody can't be on that call, correct?
Correct. Yep. Emails, letters, whatever it might be, they would all be a matter of record. They would all be read. If somebody couldn't be on it, it would all be read into the to be part of the record and in part of the recording.
Okay, so anything that's already been sent isn't really able to be presented because they haven't come to you yet.
We still have it all. We've gotten various emails and that kind of stuff, but because Wiseacre has not come to us yet, none of that is of public record as of yet.
Okay, and what happened tonight with the discussion with the select board was the approval of the host agreement, correct?
We did that last Thursday on that meeting that we said that we would be taking the matter up. What we did tonight was just clarify some of that conversation that we had with them that we're sending to the planning board so that they could be aware of it.
Thank you. Okay. Those were my clarifying questions. Thank you for answering.
So Bob or Martin, did you want to add anything more for Lauren?
No, I think you and Ken and Lauren have covered the topic adequately.
Bob, how about you?
I would just encourage anybody that has questions that need to be answered or concerns to speak up and either write them or go to the public hearing and speak. It's your town and you have every right to voice your concerns and have them answered. So I just encourage everybody that has something to say or has a feeling on it that they do attend.
Yeah, and I would add to that, read the zoning bylaws, which are on our website under forms and documents. If you know how, and Ken is always very good about starting the special permit public hearing by announcing what the format is going to be. But if you know the zoning bylaws that deal with the marijuana before you attend that hearing, you are really miles ahead. It just really helps you understand what the planning board is going to be looking for and what the burden of proof is on every applicant who comes for a special permit. So, okay, Lauren, are you good?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else on public comment?
Yeah.
Who are you, please?
This is Elissa Keller-House-Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to comment back on the topic of the Wiseacre Farm letter that you mentioned earlier. The mention of the wells. I believe this is our number one concern as a Polycoff resident. And there was a mention of how he would be drilling below any level that we are accessing our wells at, but I don't believe that is true. Many of us have wells between 250 and 300 feet, and I'm wondering when does that become verified? Is there any process?
Okay.
Is that to reflect?
You are going to need to bring this up at the special permit hearing that the planning board is going to do. Okay. The select board had discussed this with him. I cannot say if he's aware of how deep your wells are, but we had discussed this with him. We do not have jurisdiction on this. Okay. We have jurisdiction to give the HCA, which really does not get into any of the requirements on the special permit. That's the planning board. We just were very concerned about the odor and wanted to forward 2 websites that he had mentioned and sent to us to the planning board. So the issue of bringing up the depth of your wells and how deep he is going to dig, all of that, or drill, excuse me, you need to bring that up in front of the planning board during their special permit.
Okay, and it's up to the planning board then to verify that information?
You need to discuss that with the planning board. I cannot speak for the planning board, but every special permit hearing that I have ever attended or been part of, the planning board listens, and then it is up to them to decide what to do with it. And you need to bring that to the planning board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else under public comment?
Yes, Molly DiGiovanni.
Wait. One at a time. Who was it? Let's go alphabetically. Who? Mari? Did I hear a Mari or something?
Molly.
Molly, I'm sorry. Okay, Molly. You go ahead, please. Wait. Please give your last name.
Yep, DiGiovanni.
Okay.
So you stated that the select board's main concern is the odor, correct?
No.
And
No. Martin, do you want to answer this one?
Yes, we understand the applicant has done his planning and so forth with regard to the site to minimize odors as much as possible. In the conversation we had last Thursday, he offered to provide us with links on odor prevention measures, which we have then sent or are going to be sending in a letter to the planning board for their information about those potential applications. There's no promise that they'll be used on this site or anything else. He was just sending us some references about what can be done.
So my question is, will the select board or the planning board be seeking their own outside sources and not sources provided by John Piasecki of Wiseacre Farm regarding odor, keeping the odors away? I find it a little ridiculous that, the town's accepting proof from that source.
Molly, the 2 sources he sent us was one a manufacturer of different a system that is used in basically garbage dumps, and the second one was another mechanical system. All right. The select board, I attended the community outreach meeting, all 2 hours of it. So we went over a wide issue, a wide variety of issues. But it is the planning board who gives the special permit, which is a yes or no, that says whether this Wiseacre farm will go in or not go in. So that is an issue, again, that you need to bring before the planning board. And I'm sure, as I've seen with other marijuana growers, the planning board will be very arduous and exacting in their hearing on this. So again, this is a planning board matter, okay?
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? There was one other person that kind of conflicted a little bit with Molly in announcing yourself. Who was that person, please?
Yes, this is Tracy Stoddard.
Hi, Tracy. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Actually, I don't have to jump too much on it because Molly kind of just covered what I was going to sort of talk about too. I was thinking I was mention the water issue, but it sounds like it's going to have to go against the planning board anyway about having somebody come in more environmental towards the water issue, but it sounds like that's the planning board situation.
That's all the planning board. All the planning board.
The only other question I had or thought maybe to this is, it sounds like he is, John Piasecki is coming to the select board and giving these letters and all this information. And just, I obviously wasn't on the last meeting that sounds like all of us missed, but it's a little disappointing how easy the select board passed it on to the planning board.
Well, Tracy, that is the way it goes. We have zoning bylaws that govern how the land in Sheffield is used. The part that the select board has that's legislated is we grant a host community agreement. If you look into this, there's not a lot of avenues for the select board to say no. It is then up to our zoning bylaws, since our community voted to have zoning bylaws on marijuana and did not outlaw marijuana uses, that the place where there's a yes-no on this, special permit not by right, is through the planning board. So this is the proper delegation of work. We did not ask John for documents. We discussed the project with him. We shared with him what we had heard, and he shared with us what he had heard on the community outreach agreement meeting, the community outreach meeting, because we cannot grant an HCA until the community outreach meeting is done, and we address those concerns. And in the process of addressing all of the concerns that were raised, John brought up this, I have two sources that really talk about odor. I'll send those to you. We could have said, no, don't send them to us. But we got those sources, and, their emails, their links, and we are passing that on to the planning board. So that's the extent of this. This is the proper way that it has to be done. The select board does the HCA. The planning board cannot take up a special permit request. That's why the planning board has not done anything on this yet. The applicant can't submit a special permit application to the planning board until the select board has approved the HCA. And we don't have a checklist that we say, yes, you're going to do water right, you're going to do this. It's very straightforward. So I don't know if Martin or Bob or Rhonda want to comment in on that, but we're doing it legally, exactly what we have to do via the state, and given that our community voted to have zoning bylaws on marijuana. Martin or Bob or Rhonda, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, this is Martin. The only thing I would add is I think characterizing the select board's decision-making process as eager is factually incorrect. as Renee has pointed out, we do what we're supposed to do as it relates to the host community agreement, and we do notify the public of all of our public meetings. So, again, it's mischaracterized to say we eagerly pushed it to the planning board. No, we're doing what we're supposed to do.
Bob, did you have any comments?
Just want that I didn't say those words. I just said I was disappointed. I wasn't
used the word eagerly.
I did not use the word
okay,
eager.
I'm not going to have an argument here. All right, Bob, do you have any comments to make to Tracy?
Yeah, the only few points I'd like to make is we are aware of the community pushback in that area of Polycoff. And understandably so, you should be concerned. It is your residential area that you live in, and you would like to make sure that it stays the way it is. We took up each issue that we knew of that came from residents from the outreach meeting. We addressed them with them. We talked about it extensively, as of the water. We talked about the odor, which was my concern. I don't believe marijuana is a water heavy use crop. So that really, for me, the water was less of an issue than the odor. The odor is what I'm my main concern with, and we questioned him extensively on that. He was assuring that he could control that. I'm not so sure. I would definitely like the planning board to look deeper into that, because that is my main concern, and that, needs to be addressed. But there is nothing that we didn't touch on. We did our due diligence in questioning. After all his answering, and he was well prepared, seems to be genuine. We went along and approved the HCA and passed it to the planning board. And that's basically what our job consisted of.
So, Tracy, I know you're disappointed, but I'm hoping that gives you some perspective on it.
Yeah, it was fun. I was fine with what you said, to be honest, and I'm so for attending all the meetings, but I'm not happy that what just happened. And this meeting is being recorded, so I suggest that it be listened back to what I actually said, because I'm hurt by that.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Tracy. Is there anyone else under public comment?
This is Lauren Hyde again. I just want to say that I suggest any of the select board, planning board, or anyone on this call drive down Polycoff in the next couple of days to see the signs that we had made. They're very lovely.
Okay, I'll do that. I will commit to do that. All right, so the next stop for everyone is the planning board. They can't do anything until the application to them is submitted, and it will be, the planning board is very specific on how they post. I know no one will miss that special permit hearing, and if the planning board feels that it needs to go on for more than one meeting, they will continue that. It's up to them to run their own meetings, but I know the public will be listened to. All right, is there any other public comment? If not, I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank everyone for joining our meeting tonight, and I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee, aye. Thank you, everyone. This ends the meeting for tonight. Good night.
Good evening.
Thank you. Good night.